Hey guys and girls, we are going to be doing a short lesson on denotation and connotation. Now, these two words may be fairly new to you or you may have heard them before, but again, they are denotation and connotation, and I would like to share with you what they mean. Denotation is the literal sense of a word, while connotation is its figurative meaning. The word dumbness, for example, denotes the condition of being mute, and it connotes the condition of being stupid. So here's a good place to share that denotation is a literal sense. It is a definition of the word, and connotation has a figurative meaning and often an emotion involved with it. So whereas dumbness means the condition of being mute, it can connote the condition of being stupid. So you give an emotion to that literal meaning when you use a connotation. So what does this mean? Hopefully you guys remember to bring your reading journal home and you have those open in front of you. If not, get a lined piece of paper. You can write on that and bring that in tomorrow. But with your journal, if you would, write the meaning of these words. So first off, if you would write the word home, and then give yourself a line or two and write the word house. Give yourself a line or two and write the word residence. And again, give yourself some space and write the word dwelling. If you would, define those words for me. Look in the dictionary on your phone, look at Google, see if you can find those definitions. So what do these words mean? By now, if you did pause the video and look up these words, you have found that the words home, house, residence, and dwelling all have the same basic definition. But the meaning of each word is very different. And I'm sure some of you are thinking, what? Well, let me share with you that the definition of a home, house, residence, and dwelling pretty much all mean, and as you may have found, where a person lives at any given time. And that's what we think of when we think of the definition of home, house, residence, and dwelling. We think, well, that's where people live, that's where they sleep, that's where they eat, that's where their families are. However, thinking more on what does that mean, even though these four words have the same denotation, which is the literal definition, the dictionary definition, they all have different meanings or connotations. And what that means is they make us feel things. So connotation is the figurative meaning. And we think of a home in general, and maybe not all of us, but a lot of us think of a home as a cozy, loving, comfortable place to be, whereas a house is actually a building. It's four walls and a roof. So if you say, "Oh, that's a nice house," you're talking about the building. When you talk about home, that's where you go and you feel comfortable and loved. Residence. Residence, the word itself is cold. It has no feeling. I don't know about you, but when I talk about where I'm going at the end of the day, I say I'm going home. I don't say I'm going to my residence. It just doesn't have that same connotation. So dwelling, we think of it as primitive or basic surroundings. A lot of you in social studies, I'm sure, have read historical documents or from the early ages when people had a dwelling. It seems very primitive or basic. So if you compare these words, the literal meaning does mean a place to be, to live. However, the connotation for all of these are different. They have different feelings, different meanings. The figurative language is different. So this is just one example as to denotations and connotations. So again, denotation. Denotation is the strict dictionary meaning of a word. Denotation is the literal meaning of the word. If someone gave you a word and you wanted to define it, you literally could go to the dictionary and find word for word what that word means, right? And there's a nice picture of a dictionary to back that up with. One way to remember denotation is D. D equals dictionary. Denotation is a dictionary meaning of a word. Connotation. Connotation is the emotional, cultural, and figurative meaning or association surrounding a word. So a connotation of a word can be either positive or negative. Does this lend you guys to thinking of words that can have different emotions involved? Maybe words that you use when you're upset with someone, they could be a negative connotation. And when you're happy, they could be a positive connotation. And one way to remember connotation is C equals colorful or connection. So D for dictionary is for denotation, and C is for connotation, means colorful or connection. So let's work with some examples. Let's put this, what we've learned just now, and let's see how it works. An example is, if something doesn't cost a lot, we call it either cheap or expensive. So here we have two words, cheap and inexpensive, and we know that both of them mean doesn't cost a lot. So the denotation of the word, cheap and inexpensive, is doesn't cost a lot. But we wonder, which word has a positive connotation? Which one of those words has a happier feeling to it? Or a more, for a lack of a better word, and the one we've been using, which one feels more positive? And which word has the negative connotation? Which one would you choose if you were not in a good mood or you weren't happy about something? Which one would you use to be negative? And I want to go ahead and give you a second. So if you need to pause it, take a look, take a guess, because I'm going to give you the answer and let's see if you're right. So if you would, either write it down or just have it in your mind. Which one is the positive connotation? Okay, let's see if you're right. Positive connotation, cheap or inexpensive. Inexpensive. Inexpensive is a positive connotation, so therefore cheap would be the negative connotation. The connotation with cheap is one that lends itself to something being poorly made or maybe not as sophisticated or classy. And I'm just giving examples. And inexpensive doesn't necessarily mean that it's poorly made or a bad item. It just means that it's not as expensive as it could be, or it's in your mind inexpensive. So therefore we have the negative connotation with cheap, and inexpensive is our positive connotation. So another example that we have is when we put money into a chance to make more money, we call it either investing or gambling. So looking at these words, I believe investing is, well, obviously it's a chance to make more money, but it also means to me that you would put money into the stock market or a business, and over time you would hope to make money. Whereas gambling to me seems more immediate. I feel like gambling is where you go to a casino, you get lottery tickets, and you hope to win money right away. So the denotation, as we know, is a chance to make more money. But as you've probably guessed, I'm going to ask, what is the positive connotation? Which word has a positive connotation and which word has a negative connotation? Again, pause the video, think about it, see if you guess correctly. I would like to share that the positive connotation word is investing, and the negative connotation, the word would be gambling. So did you get it right? All right, so the last example that we have for this lesson is when a product has never been on the market before, we call that either new or unproven. So we know the denotation of the word new or unproven is that it has never been on the market before. Now, I know that you guys are super smart and you know that the meaning rather of the word new and unproven. So take a moment, try to decide, try to figure out which word, new or unproven, is the positive connotation. Which word has the negative connotation? Write it down, have it ready in your mind, and let's see. The positive connotation is new. The word is new. The negative connotation, therefore, is the word unproven. Good. How'd you guys do on that one? Hopefully you're feeling really good about this. If not, remember, if you have any questions, write those down. All right, so now we're going to finish up this lesson with practice. I want you guys to remember a word can have a positive or negative connotation. Using the words on the next slide, I would like for you to match up the positive connotation word with its negative connotation word. Okay, so you'll be matching up the positive connotation word with its negative connotation word. There are 5 words here. You're going to take those words, and even if you just write the 2 words together in your journal, I want you guys to try this. Write the word proper and then write its negative connotation word next to it. I will be checking this tomorrow when you come into class, and we'll be discussing the answers. So guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow.